Prabhuji, I gave you share permissions.
Okay, Prabhuji. Just we'll start with the Kirtan, Prabhuji. Yeah. We'll start with Jai Ramadava. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jala Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jala Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiramanachari Yamuna Tiramanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijala Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijala Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajala Randana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Brajajala Randana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijala Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijala Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijala Vallabha Girivaradhari Hari Ram Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah, we'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshuruvitam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Vena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagala Ragulata Vitam Tam Swajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagala Raghunatha Vitam Sajiv He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deelabandhu Jagatpate गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं वागतसेवया भक्ति भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नव पंकजनाभाय नव पंकजमालिने नव पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजाग्रहे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। नमः ब्राह्मणदेवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नम ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चातदेशतारिणे। है श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। दुःखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लभ्यते यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् अपवित्रपवित्रो वा सुहृदावस्थां गतो यत्कोदरे पुण्डरीकाक्षा सर्वावस्थां श्री विष्णु। Yeah, today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third chapter, 20, third canto, 25th chapter, 20th verse. You can see Prabhuji, right?
No, Prabhuji, you have to change. We are still
Yes.
seeing Jaya the mother.
Okay, Prabhuji. Once.
You can stop and reshare.
Yeah,
Yes, Prabhu, we can see now.
yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. We'll recite this verse, third chapter, 25th, third canto, 25th chapter, 20th verse. Okay. Prasanga attachment. ajaram strong, pasyam entanglement, atmanah of the soul, kavaye learned well, vidhu known, sa eva that same, sudoshu to the devotees, kritha applied, mokshadvaram the door of liberation, apavritam opened, prasangam ajaram pasham,
प्रसङ्गामजारं पाशम्
atmana atmana kavayo vidhu,
आत्मना
आत्मना
कवयो विदुः
कवयो विदुः
naiva sadhushu krito,
स
स
एव
एव
साधुषु कृतो
साधुषु कृतो
mokshadvaram apavritam,
मोक्षद्वारम्
मोक्षद्वारम्
अपावृतम्
अपवृतम्
पाशाङ्गम् अजारं पाशम्
प्रासङ्गम्
प्रसङ्गमजारं
अजरम्
पाशम्
पाशम्
आत्मना काव्यो विधो
आत्मना
आत्मना
कवयो
कवयो
विदुः
विदुः
स एव साधुषु कृतो
स
स
एव
एव
साधुषु कृतो
साधुषु कृतो
मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्
मोक्षद्वारम्
मोक्षद्वारम्
अपावृतम्
अपवृतम्
पाशङ्गम् अजारं पाशम्
प्रासङ्गम्
प्रसङ्गम् अजारं
अजरम्
पाशम्
आत्मना कवयो विदो
आत्मना
आत्मना
कवयो
कवयो
विदुः
स एव साधुषु कृतो
स एव साधुषु कृतो
मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्
मोक्षद्वारम् अपवृतम्
प्रसङ्गम् अजारं पाशम्
प्रसङ्गम् अजरम् पाशम्
आत्मना कवयो विदो
आत्मना कवयो विदुः
स एव साधुषु कृतो
स एव साधुषु कृतो
मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्
मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्
Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah. Translation. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, open the door of liberation. Purport. Here it is clearly stated that attachment for one thing is the cause of bondage is conditioned life. In the conditioned life, 1 second, bro. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, purport. Here it is clearly stated that attachment for the one thing is the cause of the bondage in conditioned life. And the same attachment, when applied to something else, opens the door of liberation. Attachment cannot be killed. It has to simply to be transferred. Attachment for the material things is called material consciousness, and attachment for Krishna or his devotees is called the Krishna consciousness. Consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. It is clearly stated here that when we simply purify the consciousness from the material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, we attain liberation. Despite the statement that one should give up attachment, desirelessness is not possible for living entity. A living entity by constitution has the propensity to be attached to something. We see that if someone has no object of attachment, if he has no children, then he transfers his attachments to the cats and dogs. This indicates that the propensity for the attachment cannot be stopped. It must be utilized for the best purpose. Our attachment for the material things perpetuates our conditional state, but the same attachment will transfer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees is the source of liberation. Here it is recommended that that the attachment should be transferred to the self-realized devotees, the sadhus. And who is the sadhu? A sadhu is not just an ordinary man with saffron robe or long beard. A sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who has unflinchingly engaged in devotional service. Even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations for devotional service, if one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, the Supreme Person, he is understood to be sadhu. Sadhur eva sa bantava. A sadhu is strict follower of devotional service. It is recommended here that if one at all wants to realize Brahman or spiritual perfection, his attachment should be transferred to the sadhu or a devotee. Lord Chaitanya also confirmed this. Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Simply by the moment association with sadhu, one can attain perfection. Mahatma is the synonym of sadhu. It is said that the service to the Mahatma or the elevated devotee of the Lord is Dwaram Ahur Vimukta, the royal road of liberation. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Rendering services to the materialistics as the opposite effect. If anyone offers the services to gross materialistics or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such a person, the door to hell is opened. The same principle is confirmed here. Attachment to a devotee is attachment to the service of the Lord. Because if one associates with the sadhu, the result will be that the sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee, a worshipper, a sincere servitor of the Lord. These are the gifts of the sadhu. If we want to associate with the sadhu, we cannot expect him to give the instructions on how to improve our material conditions, but he will give us instructions on how to cut knot of the contamination of the material attractions and how to elevate ourselves in devotional service. That is the result of associating with the sadhu. Kapila Muni first of all instructs that the path of liberation begins with such association. I'll read once again the translation. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But the same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. Yeah, yeah. So we are reading from this verse. We are reading this verse from third canto, 25th chapter, right? 20th verse. Okay, here Devoti is instructing the Kardamuli. Okay, the glories actually the glories of devotional service. Okay, so only auspicious path is devotional service, is the bhakti, actual loving devotional service, which can be attained by the association of the devotees, right? The bhakti can only be attained by the association of devotees, not so we have to understand the bottom line here, that the association of sadhus are important in as per this verse, the where Devoti is instructing Kardamuli, where the association of the sadhus are important, right? If you have to become a devotee, or if we have to advance in the process of the bhakti, then we have to attach to devotee. We have to take the association of the devotee and be attached to the devotee. Okay, so that is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. So devotees or sadhus or Vaishnavas, whatever it may be. So who is serving Krishna actually, who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sadhu or devotee or Vaishnava, is a person who knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is serving Krishna with love and all. So that is called as a sadhu. So we have to associate with him. When we associate with him, our association leads to attachment actually. Okay, so association will with the such kind of a devotee makes us life makes the perfect actually. So that is the bottom line. So karma yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga or ashtanga yoga cannot cannot develop any devotional service actually. So that is what it is being said. So material association here, Srila Prabhupada is comparing the material association in this verse with the association with the devotees or sadhus or Vaishnavas. Okay, so when we associate with the material person, okay, so when we associate with the material person, so it gives the material and entanglement and all, right? Whereas when we associate with the sadhus, right, when we associate with the sadhus, then it will automatically give us it will lead to the path of liberation actually. So that is what being mentioned here. Okay, so yeah, so we have to understand that here the Prabhupada is giving one nice analogy, right, of a person who are attached, right, who are attached to dogs and cats. If a person, see, we have to understand consciousness, consciousness. Everyone, see, we have the consciousness. So when we are conscious, we consciousness, we desire for something, right? When we sleep, right, when we sleep and when we get up actually, when we get up, so we are in consciousness and we desire for we desire for something. Desire could be a food, desire could be a having a nice clothes or a nice arrangements or nice accommodation, nice arrangement, nice house, nice dress. So when we are consciousness, we have the attachment. Uh, we have some desire actually. We have a desire. For example, a person is not having a food for one day, right? Okay, you may think that okay, he's not hungry actually, but if he is not having for the food for 3 days, then after 3 days he will have certainly some kind of a desire. This person has a consciousness, and this person has some desire actually, some desire to have a nice food and all. So consciousness is a synonym actually for the desire and all. So when we have the desire, very naturally we are attached to something and all. So when we love, when we love something, right, then we gets attached and all, right? So we get attached and all, right? So for example, a boy, right, a boy is attached to the girl, right? So so when he loves her, right, well, he constantly thinks about her. So he his mind is constantly thinking about her, right? So his consciousness is there, and this is leading to attachment. Attachment, and attachment is from the attachment, attachment with when we love somebody, so we are attached actually. So attachment, love, so are synonymous here. And from this love, right, from this love, sorry, this love and attachment, when we love somebody, then naturally there is attachment. So this boy is desiring to love this girl and all. So So we can understand how consciousness, everyone will have the, everyone has some desire. A human being, a living entity will have the consciousness, and he has certainly has the desire, right? We cannot stop desires. So only thing we have to understand is we have to rightly attached. Uh, yesterday, Maliga Prabhuji was giving one example, right? Uh, uh, when we cannot just detach from everything. We cannot have renounce it. We cannot renounce everything actually. So in order to detach, we have to get attached to something and all. Example is given, right? We can lift yesterday Maliga Prabhuji was giving one example, right? We can lift, we can detach this hand. We can by just raising it, or if we can do some kind of exercise, we can detach both the hands. We can detach one leg. Well, we cannot detach the last leg, right? We can detach two hands, one leg and all. If you want to detach, or if you want to raise this leg, we have to obviously get attached to something. Okay, so he was giving the example, when we attach to the branch of a tree, right? When we get attached to the branch of a tree, then we can detach ourselves from the earth, from the land and all. So detachment is only possible. A right way of detaching is getting attached to something and all. So that is what we have to understand. So we as a living entity, we certainly have the consciousness, and we has the some, every living entity has the desire, has an attachment, right? The every living entity has to love somebody. So when he has a love to something or somebody, then he naturally has an attachment. Here the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is giving the example of the people who do not have the children. They are attached to the dogs and cats and dogs. Okay, so the living entity has to love somebody. So when he is not getting a love from his wife, from his parents, or from his children, when he is being rejected by the children, or by the parents, or by families and friends, then he will he will try to find this love. You will try to find this love in the cats and dogs. So from this example, we can understand that he has to, any living entity who has the consciousness actually has to love or get attached to something. So if the attachment is not possible for the family, spouse, or children, what friends and all, so they get naturally attached to the cats and dogs, right? So this example is being given. So here the interesting thing, or interesting thing, where Kardamuli is trying to say, right, or Srila Prabhupada is trying to say through the purport is, we have to we have to get attached to the right thing actually. So the right thing, so we can have the attachment to the material things, we can have the attachment to the spiritual things, right? So we have to get attached properly to the spiritual thing. We have to get attached to the Krishna actually. So when we get attached to the material things, so we are entangled in this material world, right? We all know one example, right? Maharaj Bharata was attached to very much attached to the deer, right? He was very much attached to the deer. Well, so when he left this body, so he became he took the form of the deer and all. So from this we can understand that whatever the actions we perform, right, throughout our lifetime, right? So throughout our lifetime, so the deepest of the all the actions, are the deepest of all the thoughts at the time of death, which becomes the consciousness, and based on that we'll get the next body. So so here the Maharaj Bharata right? Bharata was attached to the deer, so he was attached to the material thing, right? But you should have been attached to the supreme personality of Godhead. So this life of must have been perfected, right? So, but although he remembers, right, he whatever he has done, all the devotional service or devotional activities which he performed uh, before getting this dear body, right? That he could remember in the dear body, but still based on his consciousness at the time of death, he got the body of the deer and all, right? We all know, right? So like this we have many examples. If the boy is in love with a girl, right, he is attached to this girl, right? So when he dies, if he has to if he come acrosses with the death, right? So this boy will certainly take the form of a girl in this next life, right? So so if we are attached to the dog, right? At the time of death, we remember at the time of death this dog because of the attachment or love we have, then certainly we'll take the body of a dog and all, right? So similarly, if we are attached, like Alan Vrindavan Prabhu and many of them will give this example. If you are attached to the house, right? If you are attached to the house, then we may, based on our desires, we even become the cockroach or lizard in that house, right? There is one more example, right? If we are attached to the wealth, there is one more example in the Bhagavatam, right? If we attach it in the to the wealth, actually, then we will become a snake and try to guard that wealth and all. So based on our attachment and thought, based on our attachments, we will have the thoughts, right? We'll have the thoughts, and the consciousness at the time of death will determine the next body, right? So that will determine our the next body. So attachment should be to the right thing, actually. So we should have the attachment to the sadhus, or attachment. We should have the attachment to devotee, right? So that will actually benefit us. That will perfect our life, right? So yeah. So we can understand when we love, when we are attached to the somebody, right? When we are attached to somebody, that means we love that person, and we are actually ready to take instruction, follow the instructions of that person, right? So that is what it means. But if you are not attached to person, then we'll not take that person association, or we are not will not take we are not attached to that person. So if you are attached to a sadhu, right? If you are attached to the sadhu, then he will give the right kinds of instructions, so that you can perform your devotional service and attain Krishna, actually. So that is, if you are attached to a material person, then you can get benefited on the material things. But when you are attached to the sadhu, you are benefited spiritually, where as well as the materially, right? So that we can understand, right? So a sadhu may not give you directly the material possessions, where material things and all, right? But he can give the spiritual things, which will also give you material possessions also. So that we have to understand. So attaching attaching to the sadhus or devotees of the Lord is the very important, right? So so that is what. So when we attach to, or when we try to associate, right? When we try to take association of a devotees or sadhu, right? So that naturally means that we are attached to that person, and when we are attached to that person, when we are in love with that person, right? We get all the qualities of that devotee and all. So yeah, and when we hear to his instructions, we get all his qualities and all. So in that way, when we are associated or when we are attached to the sadhu, then we'll progress in our path of devotional service, right? So that we have to understand, right? But we will, if you are doing if you are doing any practicing as a karma yogi or ashtanga yogi, the maximum they can the yoga means actually to connect the Lord, right? Yoga means connected the Lord, soul to super soul and all. But these ashtanga yogis do all kind of yama niyama, asanas. They know the asanas and pranayam, but they don't know the process of devotional service. So only the bhakti can is the easiest way, and it's only the only that can give the liberation and all. So that we have to understand easy way of getting liberation, that is we have to understand. So 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 we cannot one example, we cannot leave in a person's house without the permission of the owner, right? Without the permission of the owner, we cannot stay at any person's house. Similarly, we cannot go to Goloka or Krishna without approval of the Krishna, right? If you want to go to some country, we naturally required visa of that country. So government has to give or issue the visa to that person, so that he can stay at he can visit that country and all. So without the approval of the government of that particular country, we cannot go or visit those countries. Similarly, without the approval of Krishna, we cannot go to his spiritual abode. So what we have to do, we have to be submissive. When we are submissive and accept all the, when we accept when we are submissive and accepted by him, right? By the accepted by him, uh, then then we become a devotee. So in order to become a devotee, we have to get attached to the sadhu, right? In order to become a devotee, we have to attach to sadhu, because this sadhu is serving Krishna, right? Is in the devotional service, is lovingly serving the Krishna. So when he has these qualities, so naturally when we take the instruction from these devotee, right? When we take the instructions with devotee, and when we are attached to this devotee, when we love this devotee, we are faithful to these devotees, we take the instruction of the devotees, this particular sadhu or Vaishnava, then we become a devotee, then we will be approved by the Lord to enter into the his abode of Goloka. So that we have to understand. So many Vaishnavas pray actually, or they call themselves as a dog of Krishna, right? A dog is faithful to his master. Okay. Similarly, Vaishnavas feel that that they are dog of Krishna, right? They are dog of Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they have particular faith, they have lot of faith in their master and all. So we should learn from this dog, right? We should learn from this dog that we should have we should have that faith in the master and all. So when we have the faith in the master, we would be ready to take the instruction, right? We would be ready to take the instruction. We will be ready to get attached. We will be ready to perform. We would be ready to get attached, and when we are attached, that means we are in love actually, and we are ready to perform the devotional service, right? So this is the way. So so this is the way we should actually get attached to the sadhus and all, right? So here Kapila Muni, right? Here Kapila Dev is Lord Kapila Dev is telling us to get rightly attached, right? So every being needs a attachment. They are in search of love. So every being needs a attachment. So without that, we cannot exist and all, right? So we have to get attached to a devotee or sadhu who can give us the qualities of a devotee, or they'll make us a devotee, and they'll make naturally attract to the Krishna and all, right? So that is okay. So yeah. So, so will we get attached to the proper sadhu, right? So we will get the proper kind of consciousness and all, right? There is a proper kind of consciousness, and also based on that, the consciousness at the time of death will attain perfection and all. So there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smarela bhavam. Let me pull that. Yeah. Yam yam vapi smarela bhavam. uh, Tyajate alte kalevaram. So alte kalevaram. Tyajati alte kalevaram. So tyajati is give up, and alte at the end of the life, kalevaram this body. So, here, here Krishna is saying, whatever the state being well remembers when he quits his body, that state will attain without a fail. So that state he will attain without the fail. So at the time of death, the consciousness at the time of death, right, is very important. So based on that, based on our thought, right, at the time deepest thought, whatever gets accumulated, right, we every actions we do throughout the life, it will turn into deepest thought and all. So at the time of death, so based on that, consciousness will get the next body and all. So that is what that so we have to have the proper kind of consciousness. So this consciousness is we can attain this consciousness only by rightly association with the sadhus, right? Yeah. Yeah. And one example, actually, Bhakti Charu Maharaj gives one example. He used to see one particular sannyasi, actually. So he used to recite all. He knows all the most of the important verses. He used to recite all the verses by heart, and he used to recite all the verses very well. He used to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. He used to regularly study all the scriptures and all. He used to chant. He used to regularly study, and he was a sannyasi, and he used to perform all kinds of all kinds of all kinds of austerities. He used to do all kinds of this thing, all kinds of he used to worship actually the Shilas, all the Govardhan Shilas and all. So he used to know all the slokas. Then he used to read all the scriptures in the morning. He used to perform all the chanting. He used to follow all the regulative principles. right? And after that he used to go to Gurukul and teach the students of the Gurukul, students of the Gurukul. In that way he used to do all kind, he used to perform all kind of devotional service. But after Prabhupada left actually, right, well Prabhupada left, he lost the faith actually, he lost faith. And slowly he joined he joined as he joined a course to become a lawyer and all. And after that he has joined as an assistant lawyer and all. Slowly he left the Krishna consciousness. So there are many devotees or many even sannyasis. That is what Bhakti Charu Maharaj mentions, who left the Krishna consciousness, who left the Krishna consciousness when Prabhupada left actually, because they just lost the faith, they lost the attachment to the devotees actually. So attachment to devotees, or they lost the association of the devotees. So, so when they left the association of devotees, it became difficult to them to continue in the process of Krishna's consciousness. So even Bhakti Charu Maharaj says that he says that only only association of devotees could help him to continue this process of Krishna consciousness. So when we are in right association of devotees, right, then attachment to them, when we are are in that association, so attachment develops within devotees. When we love them, so naturally all the qualities of that devotee, because we love them, we try to, when we love them, all the qualities of that devotee will come to us. And these qualities will keep us in the Krishna consciousness. And this attachment is the right kind of the attachment that we should have. And this will actually this will help us to attain our final goal and all. So this Krishna consciousness is the activities, whatever do is the activities for the soul, right? Is the activities of the soul. So Krishna consciousness activities are the only activities that are asset to the soul. Whatever the other activities, whatever do, right? We will end with this body. Will the end, we accumulate so much of wealth and all, but we cannot take this wealth when we take the next body. When we have to take the next body, we cannot take this wealth, or we cannot go to banker and ask, I am so rich person, I have so many millions of dollar, I am I am taking the next body, can I carry this dollars with me? We cannot take this. Only asset we can take to the next life is whatever the accumulate the Krishna consciousness activities, whatever we do, and we accumulate the assets related to the soul, that only we can carry, right? So that is what that is what we have to understand. So we have to try to, the lesson is we have to try to remain in the association of devotees. We will develop the attachment, and that is the very good sign actually, and that will make us, that will uh, that will make us to keep us, that will make us and keep us in the Krishna consciousness and attain the final goal, right? So here Lord Kapila Dev is telling us, right? Is telling us the process of incarnation. So process of incarnation. We should have the right kind of attachment. So he's telling us the process of incarnation. uh, so that we have to understand. So attachment actually, as we, so a consciousness or a living entity will have the consciousness. So attachment is so naturally you will have the attachment or love for something. Without love, Without love, then nobody can exist and all. So attachment should actually shifted shifted to the Krishna. Actually, the attachment should be shifted from the matter to the Krishna. So all this this attachment we should not have attachment to the house, property, or designation, or the fame, whatever we have, right? Everything will be just taken away at the time of the death. So we should have right kind of the attachment, and we should shift our attachment from the matter to the Krishna, right? uh, the Bhakti Charu Maharaj, when he has read about the book of the Prabhupada, right? Of the Prabhupada, he went to Mayapur, and just he wanted to try try this Krishna consciousness for 2 3 months, and he want to see how it works, and he want to just try this. So he studied and he worked in Germany, I believe, and he came back to India, and he wanted to he has read the Prabhupada book, and just he came to Mayapur. He just wanted to join this ashram, and just joined this Mayapur temple, and just wanted to take up this the Krishna consciousness for the 2 months. But when he tried, he was when he tried this Krishna consciousness, or when he joined the temple, right? He joined the temple. He just shaved his head, and then he became. He just he was loving the brahmacharis and all, right? He was staying in the ashram, so that way he got attached to these brahmacharis and all. So that way he acquired all these qualities. He loved that brahmacharis, he acquired all these qualities, and he became firm with the Krishna consciousness. When he acquired the faith, he acquired the attachment, love, and everything, and that's the way he continued in this Krishna consciousness and all. So this from this example we can understand that when we are attached to sadhus, right? When we are attached to the Vaishnavas or devotees, so automatically we get all the qualities of that sadhus, because we love them. So we'll have the faith in them. We will follow the instruction of that devotee. So in that way we slowly become Krishna consciousness person, and slowly will perfect our life. So that is what is about this verse, right? Which I would like to discuss. Okay, so we should not find the faults with the devotees. I'm telling it to myself. We should not find the faults with the devotees. So we should always try to see the good things or good qualities of the devotees, and try to associate with the devotees, so that we can benefited in the Krishna consciousness. So that is what is about. So bhakti will get this bhakti, devotional service, loving devotional service, only in the association of the devotees. So the association is most important, and through association only we can get the we can become the devotees and get the qualities of the devotees, or Vaishnavas and all. So that is what the way we can develop our consciousness, so that we can have the right consciousness at the time of death. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I think so. I'll just recap what we have discussed. So practical application here would be we should try to attach right, kind of have the right kind of attachment. We should be rightly attached to the sadhus or devotees or Vaishnavas, so that we become Krishna consciousness. We become a devotee first, and become the observed in the Krishna consciousness, and right kind of the consciousness. We can have the right kind of the consciousness. So, we can progress in the path of bhakti actually. So lessons we can learn here is always we have to remain in the association of devotees. That will keep us to continue in Krishna consciousness. So we have taken one example of one sannyasi who left the ISKCON or Krishna consciousness after Prabhupada left this world and all, because they lost the faith. They lost the faith. They didn't have the association of the devotees, and slowly, well, they didn't have the association, so there was no attachment and nothing. There was no association, so they have to leave the Krishna consciousness and all. So we have taken the example of Maharaj Bharata, who had a material consciousness, right? At the end of the end of the life, so he had a material consciousness, like he was very fond of deer, so he had to take the 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 form of deer, right? But he has done some devotional activities before he was loving this deer and all. But that helped him to, even though he was in the form of deer, that devotional activities helped him to remember. He could have the proper smarana, right? Proper smarana, so that he could perfect his life and all. So we should not be attached. Like Prabhupada also gives the example of attaching ourselves to the dogs and cats and all. So we should be attached to the proper spiritual thing rather than the material things, so that we can avoid the by getting we can avoid the material entanglement. When we are attached to the spiritual things, we will get the liberation and all. So this analogy of cats and dogs is important. So this all we have learned from this. So we should have the proper consciousness, desire to have the right association. We should allow the devotees, or we are should get attached to the devotees, so that we can get the quality of that devotees by following his instruction, taking the association, right? Following his instruction, because we'll follow his instruction when we love him, when we have faith in him, right? So when we do that, so when we follow his instruction, our life will be perfected and all, right? So this all we all learned and all. So yes, Pravil Prabhu, that is what I would like to say. And Prabhuji Salmataji, if you have any questions or comments, please you can ask.
Correct.
Thank you, Pravil Prabhu. Thank you, Lilanand Prabhuji and Anuradha Mataji for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Pravil Prabhuji and Subbarao Prabhuji for giving this
Krishna Prabhu.
opportunity. Please forgive me for my any shortcomings or limitations. I try to repeat the what Bhakti Charu Maharaj has told us all this particular verse. So please forgive me for my limitations and all. Yeah, we can take the questions or comments on this verse or whatever we have spoken.
Hare Krishna, Akinchana Prabhu, Nanda Pranam. Thank you very much. A wonderful class. It's a beautiful words that you have taken about attachment and how to get attached to a higher subjects, and explained with so many examples very nicely. Prabhuji Mataji, if you have any questions, comments, supporting arguments, please put them forward.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mahalingan Prabhuji, Nanda Pranam. You are in Lingam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, one thing that is in my mind is that is very scaring, what you told. When a boy is attached to a girl, he has to take the next birth as a girl. Hare
Right.
Krishna.
Yes.
How scary it is, Prabhuji. We generally get attached to so many other things. It's so
Right.
common to us, and we may have to take all those births.
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, well, he's attached to the girl, right, Prabhuji? He has that because he constantly contemplates all that girl, right? So it is not a right word actually. With this smarana, right? Smarana part where you love something, right? When you are attached to something, that means that you are loving something, right? So, well, this boy is loving this girl, so he's constantly thinking about her, right? So he's developing that kind of consciousness, right? So if that boy happens to die, right? So he has that particular consciousness. So all the actions performed, right? All the actions performed in his life, right? These will have the deepest action, deepest thing happens that develops into the consciousness. So he was, it is not a right word to use. So he was constantly contemplating smarana, right? So when we do smarana of the Lord, right, when we contemplate, that is the right way of consciousness. But this boy, when he's falling in love with this girl, and at the time of death, he could only remember this girl. So he's taking this form of this girl, right? There are many such examples, right? Maharaj Bharat taking the body of deer. There are many such examples, right? So that is what. So similarly, there are many examples also. I don't remember exactly. The Balgoil Prabhuji gives one example where one person was much attached to his wealth. So he has died, and he became the snake, and he was guarding all the wealth of that family. He has become the snake in the next life, and he was guarding that wealth and all. Even his family person, they just they would just want to get rid of this snake and all. So there was many such examples. I don't remember this particular example. This was Bhagavatam example. Many times Balgol Prabhuji tells this example. That same person became the snake, and he came to same place guarding that wealth and all. So there are so many examples being given. So based on our consciousness, or whatever the thick amount of thought, deepest thought we have at the time of death, so that is the consciousness. Based on that consciousness, we attend the next body and all. So that is what. So we have to, that is very important. So based on our desires, we are getting our body. So we should have a proper kind of desires and attachment, so that we associate with the devotees. We should not have, that is what the here Kapil Dev, Lord Kapil Dev is telling, that you attachment is, we cannot avoid our attachment. So we are living entities, we have the consciousness, we cannot avoid attachment. So we should get rightly attached, as you have given the example of a person getting attached to the branch, right? Then only when he is attached to the branch, he can detach the other thing. So attaching something is necessary. So proper kind of attachment is required, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, it's so important to have that consciousness, and it is the most misused, so easily misused. I also misuse so many times.
Yes, 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 Prabhuji. That is important, Prabhuji. We think that consciousness. That's why we have to practice. That is what there is a saying, Prabhuji. Once consciousness is the important word in our is called Krishna conscious. Krishna of consciousness is the important thing. There is a proverb: once is an act, repetition forms the habit, habit forms the character, character is unsurmountable. So well, we repeat same thing, that becomes act, right? And this act becomes a habit. So right kind of actions to be performed during our life, so that that becomes that becomes very क्या बोलते हैं गाढ़ा, right, thick, that thick consciousness will enter the next soul and all. So that's the way it happens. So that is what the association only helps us to become a devotee, right, to have the proper kind of consciousness that is being explained here, probably.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. And Prabhuji, one more thing I wanted to ask, if so you talked about associating and associating with saintly persons. That is the key, and if we have that consciousness at the time of death, that is what will lead us to Krishna, right? That's
Yes,
what you are trying to say.
yes,
Now, my question is, if we are just sentimentally attached to a devotee, can that also lead to Krishna? Like if a devotee who gives a very good lecture and someone is attracted to the way he speaks,
yes,
can that also lead to Krishna? Or someone who is very bright and very effulgent, because of his sadhana, someone is getting attracted, and only that part is uh, making him attached, or just because a person is very kind hearted, someone is attached, so can that also lead to Krishna consciousness, or it
yeah.
should be?
Yeah, it may lead to Krishna consciousness, but it will take some times. Probably we have to understand here that if you are attracted to that devotee, that means you are attracted because of some qualities, right? These qualities you like some qualities, but when we have faith in that person, or when we take instructions from those person. See, devotional service or the process of the bhakti is doing some services, or doing performing services, some activities. So right, so when we love somebody, when we are attached to somebody, naturally we'll try to do some services. We will like to listen to his instruction or follow the instruction of that person. So when we are attracted, not getting we are not doing some we are not doing the activities are based on the instructions given by person, then there is no devotional service happening between these two persons, right? Between these two persons, then actually there is no love, or there is no attachment between those persons, that we have to understand. But but he is attracted to his lecture or something like that. But eventually that may he may well we it may lead to the faith and get attached and all. Well, it is lead to, well, he gets faith into that person, then naturally you will be attached to that, you will get love and all. That's the way. So these characteristics are of a devotee or Vaishnava, we only get when we are attached to that, when we perform the instructions, when we do the activities based on the instructions, Prabhuji. See, mother loves a child, doesn't mean that she is doing so much to that child, right? So so she's doing, though this child is not instructing him, but in love she is doing. So that is what. So she has. So that is what. When we love somebody, so we'll follow the instructions. So if this person is not following the instructions right now, but it may take some time. So when the faith is developed, then you will follow the instructions, then naturally you will get attached. So attachment is important, but we cannot say that we love that we love the lectures being given by this particular Vaishnava or devotees, but will not follow the instruction, because the devotional service, it means the doing the services to the Vaishnavas or the Krishna, right? So without doing the devotional service or rendering service, we cannot get attached and all. So devotional service, performing activities in devotional service, or serving the Vaishnavas, this all association, this all will lead to the process of bhakti, and that is what we have to understand. Bhakti is nothing but a devotional service, loving devotional service. Prajit. Did I answer your question, Prabhuji?
Very wonderfully you answered it, Prabhuji. It's not just a sentimental attachment, but slowly the faith will grow and
Yes.
he will take up instructions, serve, and in that way, Krishna consciousness will grow. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. So that is what the Lilananda Prabhuji also tells us. If you don't want to come to the satsang, okay, but you find some other satsang, right? So that where you love something about something where you are finding in other satsang, right? But you continue to be in satsang wherever you like it, right? So that's the way. Where so the love we every living entity will hanker for love, so you get it attached somewhere, a lot if you not here somewhere. That is what so attached to the devotees. So association is very important, probably.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna,
I have
Prabhuji.
one question.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I beg your pardon if I ask something wrong.
No
My
problem.
question is in connection with the one thing you mentioned, Prabhuji, where one Prabhu who left his Krishna consciousness when Prabhupada left this world.
Right.
So in that connection, my question, Prabhuji, generally we have like soul, super soul, and yeah, obviously the Paramatma part has everything infinite, like unlimited. Whereas souls have a minuscule part of the same thing. We have that freedom, whatever the unlimited freedom Paramatma has, but we have only limited. With that, is it our limited freedom that causes this kind of things where we live like we were part of Krishna consciousness, because of some other reasons we live it, or sometimes will there be like, obviously Krishna controls everything, right, Prabhuji? Or is there something else also sometimes based on our previous lives, or like Krishna sometimes wants to test us, or Krishna makes us to deviate from this? I'm not sure, Prabhuji, whether I made my question. Is it our own mistakes what we did, or is our own with our limited freedom will that happen, or sometimes is there something else that also controls our this path, Prabhuji?
What I understand here, Prabhuji, this person has left. He has left the Krishna consciousness because he left the association actually. So well, we are in the right association, right? Well, we are in the right association, then he would not have left this Krishna consciousness because it is said, right? Even Chandala, if you are from the family of the Chandala also, right? If you are eating dog meat also, right? Then also when we hear when we hear chant or do or when we hear the lecture chant or when we do this activities like Krishna consciousness activities, right? So even the chandala will get up the quality he will is karma will also it gets changed. See, there are two kinds of karma: prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma. So he will. So what to speak of? Well, this chandala, he will dog eater also his quality his karma is getting changed in the next life, right? In the next life, not only next life but also in the current life also, right? Prarabdha and aprarabdha. The karma of the future body, future the bodies to come, and the karma of the current life. Because when we are hearing or when we are chanting, this holy name has the potency, actually has the potency to to change our consciousness and all. So well such a low person do these activities or accidentally hears the the holy name, or he chants the holy name, or hears some kind of katha accidentally also, right, his life, his consciousness will be changed. Well, his consciousness is changed, he will try to associate, well, he get that some kind of different consciousness, right? He'll try to get associate with that kind of particular kind of devotees, or you try to anchor for that particular kind of association. So well, he is getting that different kind of taste, well, whatever he was doing, right? So he will try to, well, he try to enjoy that different taste. Then there's slowly he will his karma, his karma gets changed, and his activities gets changed. He will get associated with the devotees. Slowly, all is what do we say, all is anchorings to previous things or previous attachments he has, slowly get rid of. So this person who was a sannyasi, he was performing, he might be performing all this, he was doing all these services, all this, he might be reading all the scriptures, but suddenly he lost the faith, lost the faith, and he lost the faith, and with he didn't had the association, proper association, so to regain this faith and all, right? So he will Maharaj says, he used to attend, he used to go, he was to he used to get that lawyer degree, right? He used to attend that classes in that dress, right, in the sannyasa dress and all. So he lost the faith, actually he lost this faith association and all. So based on that, that we have to understand. But we have to understand one thing, Prabhuji, that it's that Krishna, maybe Krishna maybe bring him back, actually. So that is what that we have to understand. That is what I can answer, Prabhuji. I think I don't think I have answered to your question, but that is what the attempt I have made, Prabhuji. Uh, yeah, Prabhuji. I don't know.
Thank you.
I could
No,
answer
thank you,
or not,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. That association, yeah, we shouldn't leave. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because Maharaj himself says that the only association kept him going, right? So that is the only difference he could found. That Maharaj clearly tells in his lecture, that is he was surprised, because he used to he bayated all the verses and all, but he could only continue because of the association. That is what the Maharaj mentions, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, Praveen Prabhuji. If we don't have any questions, we can stop here. Probably.
So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji, any other questions? So wonderfully explained. All the questions you answered very nicely, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Any other questions, Prabhuji, before we close this? All right. Okay. If not, thank you very much for attending Mangalarti and chanting and the class. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Vanchakalparabhyascha Kripasindhubhyo Ajapatatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnavebhyo Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thakur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Very
Jai
well.
Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.